So, imagine trying to build this massive commercial project right in your neighborhood. But instead of Wall Street bankers calling the shots, the funding comes from people halfway across the world who just want a green card.
Yeah, it sounds like something out of a movie, but that is exactly what is happening right now in South Dallas.
Right, with this project called Winter's Tower. And welcome to today's deep dive, by the way. We are looking at how this specific project is kind of turning everything we know about neighborhood development and community impact completely upside down.
It really is. I mean, you've got local residents, a church that's been there for over 2 decades, and these global investors all converging on one single city block.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just a fascinating look at how matching, you know, billionaire overseas investors with local mom and pop shops can actually drive local impact.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if a community is pushing back against a massive 26-story monolith, which they absolutely did, how do the developers actually get them on board with that?
Well, they had to fundamentally rethink who actually owns the neighborhood. So first, they downsized the proposal from 26 to 10 stories.
Okay, quite a drop.
Right. But more importantly, to build local wealth, they introduced something called tenant partnerships.
Tenant partnership. So, like, what does that actually mean for the folks living there?
Well, instead of bringing in a giant anchor store to just extract value from the locals, they flipped the script. The local small businesses that are leasing space in this new building, they will actually earn equity in the property itself just by paying their rent.
Wait, so paying rent actively builds ownership for the local business.
Exactly.
That sounds like a rent-to-own model, but like for commercial real estate, how does a developer afford to just give away equity like that? I mean, out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah, no, definitely not just out of goodwill. Mechanically, a portion of their monthly lease payment is legally diverted into an equity pool. So over time, that effectively turns them from just mere renters into minority shareholders.
Oh,
But you hit the nail on the head regarding the motivation. To actually afford diverting that rent money instead of just pocketing it, the developers had to completely bypass traditional profit-hungry local banking.
so they bypass the banks and use the federal EB-5 program.
Yes.
I know that requires foreign investors to put up massive cash, like a minimum of $800,000 to $1 million, right? And in exchange, they get a legal path to a U.S. green card. But where does the local community benefit actually come in there?
Well, what's fascinating here is the catch built into the EB-5 program. Every single individual investment must create at least 10 local jobs.
10 jobs per investor.
Yes, and because these global investors are primarily motivated by gaining U.S. citizenship rather than, aggressive profit extraction, the usual financial pressures are lifted.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they aren't demanding maximum quarterly returns, which means control, and that rent-to-own equity pool we talked about can safely stay in the hands of the local community.
That sounds like a perfect loophole, honestly. But dropping a massive 10-story modern building next to single-story homes in South Dallas obviously sparked heavy local tension.
Oh, for sure. Huge tension.
Yeah, like during the community meetings, residents from the nearby Colonial Hills neighborhood brought up fears of increased traffic, noise from rooftop lounges, and just the erasure of their historical culture.
Right, and one advocate even accused the developers of anchoring.
Anchor it.
Yeah, they argued the developers purposefully started with an outlandish 26-story proposal just so that when they compromised down to 10, it felt like a win for the community.
The classic negotiation tactic. Start by asking for a pony, settle for a puppy.
Exactly.
But even a 10-story puppy completely changes the skyline of a residential neighborhood. At what point does revitalizing a community turn into replacing it? Can a massive modern building truly serve the single-story homes right next door?
Well, the developers counter that argument by saying a multi-story mixed-use space isn't just an arbitrary choice, it is mathematically necessary.
To pay for the perks.
Right. To fund the economic benefits everyone actually wants. Things like a new tax base for underfunded schools, full-service grocery stores and food deserts, and local banking. They say the building just needs a certain density to pencil out.
But it's less like a delicate balancing act and more like a seesaw. I mean, put too much global money and concrete on one side and you launch the local residents right out of the neighborhood.
And that is the core tension here. Finding a way to use those global strategic partnerships to fund local economic impact, but doing it without steamrolling the historical identity of the community that actually lives there.
It makes you wonder, though, if foreign citizenship incentives can bypass traditional gatekeepers to fund local business equity, could this EB5 model become the ultimate blueprint for funding underinvested neighborhoods nationwide? Or does it just invite a completely new kind of gentrification? It is definitely something to think about the next time you see a crane going up on your street.